there is this idea that if we put in the hard work and we prepare, we have to be aware of what we're given. We have to see some of the bad luck as an opportunity to move us to a protected, a better place. Since 1981, Justin has been producing world-class Bordeaux-style wines from Paso Robles on California's Central Coast. As the pioneer of Paso, Justin wines are what put Paso Robles on the winemaking map. The Justin team believes that wine should be exceptional from every angle, which is why their team uses boutique winemaking practices like hand harvesting and hand sorting. With a rich history of accolades, Justin produces exceptional wines and is proud to be America's #1 luxury Cabernet. Whether you're the first-time wine drinker or a wine aficionado, Justin has a wine for every celebration and occasion. Visit justinwine.com and enter promo code PLAYBOOK20 for 20% off your order. Justin offers the perfect holiday gifts for clients, colleagues, friends, or family. Be sure to check them out at justinwine.com to receive 20% off your order for a limited time and use the promo code PLAYBOOK20. Welcome to Celebrity Entrepreneur Show with James Maslow. And who else is with us today, James?
We got the one and only Forrest Griffin. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, guys. What's happening? Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about catching up, Forrest. You know, you are the vice president, I believe, of performance at, of course, the amazing, whatever that sport's called. Some people know it. UFC. It's a small little entity, UFC.
It's it's one of these days. It's going to break through. You just wait.
It will.
And for you.
It's so cool because you, from being, one of the innovators and creators of the UFC, have this humility about you that is so attractive to everybody that meets you. And it doesn't change. As big as the UFC gets, as big as your job gets, and as much as people respect, admire, and love you, you still remain the same. What is it about you that has changed?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that. It's because I realized it was all luck. It was a lot of being at the right place at the right time. And other people will look and say, hey, Forrest, man, you have been really lucky. And I have. But in my career and in my life, I've had amazing good luck. And I've had a lot of bad luck, too. It's funny. Luck as it comes is not all one size fits all. It's not all good. So, yeah, I've had all the luck. I've been in the right place at the right time, and I've been at the right place at the wrong time a couple times too. But yeah.
Well, it's such a humble way to look at the career you've had. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He's a very successful guitarist, one of the biggest country acts. And he's now just starting to realize, like, man, I want to take my life more seriously. He's actually been sober for the last 40 days. He's making a really radical change. I'm proud of him. But we were speaking about the subject of luck. And I think that all of us have to acknowledge, of course, luck has played a large part in us being in the right rooms at the right time, in front of the right people at the right time. However, through the conversation, I made the argument that, the more disciplined that I am, the more I find myself getting lucky. So do you think that there is some correlation?
It's called the Lucky Brand gi. It was a gi, that you wear for jiu-jitsu. And it said on the back, it said, get off my back. But then it said, the harder I work, the luckier I get, right? Luck is when opportunity meets preparation and hard work or something like that. I don't know. But yeah.
Success comes from preparation meets opportunity. I love that.
Yeah. But, and then, the other piece to luck is taking your shot, taking the right risk at the right time, There's a lot of people who are prepared. A lot of people have done the work. Maybe they don't get the opportunity, but worse still is when people have done the work and they don't take the opportunity. So, yeah.
Which I think is really interesting because I talk about elevating our awareness to what we're given. I'm going to use another lucky friend of mine, Mike Tannenbaum, who probably will come on the show. He was the youngest general manager in the NFL, GM of the Jets, and good friend from law school. And he said, I'm just so lucky. And I said, Mike, you worked with $100,000 loans from going to law school for $600 a month as a paid intern, basically a paid legal intern for the Saints, a really shitty team at the time. And you made an investment in yourself and you took a big risk where I was too afraid to do that. And so I just went with the highest paying job I could get out of law school because I had $100,000 of loans. And I felt that I was lucky because I was able to pay off my loans. And he felt he was lucky because he took $600 job. There is this idea that if we put in the hard work and we prepare, we have to be aware of what we're given. We have to see some of the bad luck as an opportunity to move us to a protected, a better place. And a lot of people aren't aware of all they're given, meaning I'm given this bad luck, I'm given this pain to indicate I got a better place to be. And some people stay in the bad luck. They don't see it as an indicator. Was there a moment that you can remember where bad luck was really an indicator, which turned into actually good luck because you have that grateful awareness of being given an opportunity?
Well, yeah, it's funny. So I got a horrible staph infection. I was on antibiotics for 5 weeks. I had to get like my legs scoped out. It's crazy. I'll
So
share the
you
pictures
didn't wear
with
a
you.
condom when you were younger? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I was younger. You don't know what you don't know.
Starting off strong here,
So
David.
yeah,
Way to go.
It's been a long day.
Tell.
yeah. David's like your grandpa. He can get away with it, though. It's like it's just Dave.
Yeah, exactly.
But no. So I ended up losing a fight that I really wanted. And by virtue of not fighting that fight and having to wait 6 months, I actually got the opportunity to fight Shogun. And that was beating Shogun was the opportunity that got me to get to the fight for the championship. So, yeah, kind of missed something. And at the time, I was really irritated and I was upset. I couldn't train for 5 weeks. I was super sick. And, it ended up being like, hey, everybody else kind of got tied up, but I was free, and they were like, "Well, shoot, we got Shogun, we got Forrest is not doing anything. He didn't have a fight. Well, match him up." So yeah,
That's awesome.
I love it.
but mostly I think about it. It's been bad luck. It's mostly
But
bad
if you look at that bad luck as a learning opportunity, I think that's kind of the moral of the story here. That is when you learn, because we don't learn when we win, at least not nearly as much
Yeah.
as when we lose. When you win, you went, man, I got it right, so I must know what I'm doing. When you lose, pardon me,
Yeah.
at least I go back to the tape, whether it's literally in a sport like yours or me on stage or my life with investments, and go, where did I fuck up? And really, from those moments, I've found more growth. Similar one, I spoke to Dave about this. Been bitching about it to Dave for the last 2 years. In terms of some of the entrepreneurial side of my life, I've invested into real estate quite a bit. And I had a property in Miami that I bought to live in. That's when I was living there. And I thought, this is going to be my home. We want to go big. We want to do this big renovation. And it has taken almost 2 years just to get permits. But had it not, we might have been living in there and I wouldn't be here in Nashville. And I have found so much solace and comfort. And I really feel like I found home here. So, in a very literal sense, that bad luck of it taking monumentally longer than it was supposed to, it offered me an
Yeah.
opportunity that I wasn't even thinking about at that moment. So, it was kind of through the suck and the frustration that other doors opened.
That's a really good point. And one day when I lose, I guess I'll try to take that as a learning opportunity. Hadn't happened yet, but one day I'm sure I'll need to do that. No, that's yeah, Miami. What a dump. That's sounds all right.
It's
Though.
like
I
the
don't know.
Vegas of Florida, bro. So anyway,
There you go. It's like Vegas.
Like the
You know
Vegas
what?
of
What a dump,
Florida.
right? Like Vegas, but you also get one of the most gorgeous fucking beaches in the world. So it's like where you live, just
yeah.
even better. Having said that,
See, what you don't realize is Vegas is all beach. It's all
one
beach.
big sandy,
There's just
dry,
no
deserty
actual
beach.
ocean.
Hey, I lived in Summerlin for 2
Yes,
years. All right,
yes.
I can talk a little bit of shit. I
Beaches
got love
everywhere.
for it. I do,
Yeah.
but I don't
Hey,
live there anymore.
hey. When Dave and California fall into the ocean,
Yeah.
we will be the coastline. The ocean
That's
will
fair.
come to
You're
me
gonna have to
eventually.
And then,
I'm
and then
still
Dave's
with
going to be moving in with Forrest Griffin and his family. So don't wish upon myself. I'll take your beach property. I have a question. As I got older and had good luck and bad luck and made mistakes and more mistakes, but never lacked commitment to make up for my mistakes or learn from them. I've learned not to take things so seriously. And one of the things I really admire about you, because you not only help people with their performance, but you perform at a very high level. People behind your back, not in front of you, like me, they say really nice things. Everyone, uh, more than most people, behind your back. I love hearing how many compliments and how much people admire you and how much you help them and have impacted their lives. But with all that serious impact and work that you do, uh, you maintain, and I try to, like you, like just this great demeanor of making everything fun, not taking it so seriously. And you're in a serious multi-billion-dollar business, and you have a lot of responsibility. Um, is there an internal conflict between what I see outside of
No.
go?
No, not, so here's the deal. You get the feelings you get, and you metabolize them however they want. It's the stupidest thing, but worry never solved anything.
Yeah,
If you worry, which I do, start working. If you want worry to go away, just start working towards that project and lose yourself in the project. You'll stop worrying about it. If you're worried, it's because you didn't do something you maybe should have done. The other thing is. It just doesn't matter. That's one of my favorite movies. If you've ever seen Meatballs,
yeah,
it just doesn't matter.
just doesn't matter.
It's the best. It's my favorite. That's that. It's like really, how much of this really matters at the end of the day. I was just listening to a podcast because I don't read books, but I do listen to podcasts with smart people. And you're just talking about, like 100 people on their deathbed. What were, was it the notes they missed on that meeting? Was it their family? The other thing too is like I have a pretty minimal lifestyle, and I don't need that much more money. So I don't need, and this sounds however it sounds, but I don't need people that much. Like I don't need to go hustle for $5,000 to do that speaking engagement. I just don't need to. Um, and so that's the other thing that I would try to tell, people that come through that care to kind of engage a little bit is, the higher your lifestyle, the more pressure you're putting on yourself. And that's fine. If that's what you want, good, do it. But for me, it's not a financial pressure. I feel pressure because the team, my business unit, the Performance Institute, everybody works so damn hard, and I want to keep up because you're competitive in nature, right? So we're all competitive. So when you're around people that are constantly pushing the envelope, you're like, I got to get in there. I got to start moving. I got to work towards these goals. Oh yeah, you guys are going to work 50 hours a week? I'm going to work 55 hours a week. Fine.
Yeah, I love that competition. Hey, James, how at your age and your success is this either resonating with you in the respect that, man, I'm already living that way, or how much of it is like, fuck, I am not like these two old middle-aged mutant turtles. I'm still stuck in, the buying shit I don't need to impress people I don't like stage of my
First
life.
of all, Forrest, can you see him trying to drag you into his age bracket right now? I'm sorry. That's offensive even to me.
Yeah, no,
Um,
hey, look,
but you know what?
I'm closer to him than you,
That's
unfortunately
that's
for
by the
me.
way, that's why David wanted to do this one remotely. He was afraid to do it in person because he's going to talk some shit like that, and I would if I were him, be afraid too. No, look,
He also didn't want to have to see how handsome you are in person.
I'll
He
take,
was like
I'll
sparing
take that. Yeah,
himself that.
we're gonna do a filter on David before we post this. Don't you worry.
Yeah, thank you.
No, look, that's a great question. I've experienced both in my life, where I'd made a lot of money and then bought a lot of things and a car that I wanted, but maybe didn't need, and then experienced, man, a couple of years not making the same income. Shit, maybe this is above where I should be, and I've learned my lesson to live beneath my means. However, then like this year, I've gone, well, I've got enough money to make another investment, and maybe I can, cash out refi here and leverage that and make another investment. And this is a year where I've done 3 properties plus some tech investments plus a lot of entrepreneurial stuff that, while all of it has been for the purpose of making future money, for the purpose of investments, it is still a stress. So I'm not spending money for the most part on lifestyle because I don't really give a shit to impress
Yeah.
people anymore. I drive the cars that I want to drive. And for me, that's a big pickup truck out front. That's what I love. And it's my 72 Bronco. Those are my cars. They're not Lamborghinis because I just can't, I don't want to waste money on stuff like that right now. But I do spend money, and sometimes maybe more than I planned on and more than I should, by leveraging, because I'm seeking, future wealth that I didn't grow up with. So I do my best to make calculated risks, but it's well within my means to be doing it. But I also know, I'm 34 years old. I want to be making these risks
Yeah,
now and for the next 10 years,
exactly.
15 years maybe. But never am I betting the entire farm on any single investment. It's
Yeah,
always
of course.
diversified. And I don't want to be living under this level of stress later when I have kids. So it's a mixed bag for me.
Yeah, if you, yeah, as a unregistered, uncertified financial advisor, that is the right course for you. You're in the middle of it, right?
This,
Like, I'm pushing 50, David. Well, we don't want to talk about that, but it's not. Yeah, you're still in that stage where you can afford to be aggressive. If you lost it all tomorrow,
build it back.
you could work and get it
And
back. Do you
I don't
have
have kids
kids?
yet. It's me and my girlfriend.
See, you're completely
Exactly.
free. You are completely free.
That's
Doesn't
exactly
matter.
right. I mean, I certainly have responsibilities. I do take care of a lot of people in my family, but I think about that all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I wouldn't make this move if I had a few more mouths to feed, but I can make this move because I got time to continue to earn.
Yeah.
And that,
Time to recover from
yeah,
your
and that,
mistakes.
that's one of the best pieces of advice. I know David has told me this. I've heard this a few times, and it's one of the few things that has stuck, which is, when asked what's your biggest asset, if I were asked that, I don't know, 5 years ago, I might have gone, well, and let me calculate this, that. My biggest asset and your guys' biggest asset is still our ability to make money. That will go away eventually. Right now, I have that in spades. And so I focus on that quite a bit. And that's part of my decision making with, investments and taking risks.
This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them, because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/playbook today to get a 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/playbook. Imagine starting a small business, your first customer, first hire, first real paycheck. But everything isn't just exciting, it's scary. That's where JustWorks come in, the all-in-one platform that supports small business growth. Access seamless tools that help with benefits, payroll, HR, and compliance with transparent pricing. It's time to make payroll painless. Run payroll in 90 seconds or less and automate payments so you can set it and forget it. Did you know in 2023 alone, they processed over 25.6 billion in trusted payroll customers? Don't worry about the paperwork piling up either. They take care of payroll tax documents and reporting to help you stay compliant. Visit justworks.com/podcast to join the thousands of small businesses that trust JustWorks to take care of payroll, benefits, compliance, and more. That's justworks.com/podcast.
The other thing I'll say is where I'm at. I'm in my work peak. I'm in the time. I have a 13-year-old daughter and a wife. I'm in the time where they want me the most. I'm in the time where my parents are getting up there. They want to spend time with me the most. And it's just unfortunate that in your late 30s to like early 50s, that's when everybody wants you. That's when your work, okay,
Yeah.
you're desirable. Your family, they need you. Your parents, they need you. So, and then, as you get older, people need you less. So it's just kind of a thing, as you go through, you have to balance your
How do you
burdens and
prioritize?
decide.
That word balance is thrown around a lot, but how do you find
Yeah.
it?
How do I
Prioritize and
prioritize?
find whatever version of balance you
Yeah.
have.
No, I re-asked the question to delay in time that I would hope that I would come
Good
up with an
tactic, by the way.
answer.
Good tactic.
I do that all the
I did
time.
not. In that additional 3 seconds, I did
Well,
not come up with. All right. David, next time we're in the office, I'm going to do it for you. So I do this with people. I did it with a football team. I say, hey, what are your goals? What do you want? What do you want? Time, money, this, that. What are your goals? Um, and then, all right, how can you achieve these goals? And first, these guys they're actually professional football players, right? And the biggest thing is, look, you can buy freedom with money. You can buy your time back with money. Um, if you can make, like, I don't clean my yard. I haven't done my yard in like 6 years. I don't even know what happens. Like when my sprinklers break, they just magically fix themselves. Why? Because a guy does that. We have somebody come clean the house once a month. I don't really like to dust. I don't know how to do that. That's not a thing I'm going to do. Again, so what can I do with my time to buy more time, right? So how can I monetize my time, right? So I work my job and I have some investments, and then I take that money and use it to get time back. So I also don't drive a nice car because I don't care, and I don't fit in a Ferrari or whatever. Those are pretty uncomfortable for me, actually. But, then I start buying my time back. So obviously time is always your biggest asset and your biggest priority.
And one of the other things when you're in,
I just made that up on the
It wasn't
spot. That
half
might not
bad
even
for
be
us. It
true.
was pretty good. I
Yeah.
bought most of it. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
bought
it was
all of
like
it. I buy whatever the guy says. You know, I've been in some very successful ventures, and one of the things that happens is that I feel sometimes people get stuck with golden handcuffs.
Mm.
And the golden handcuffs not are only the pay opportunity, but the prestige and access opportunity of
identity.
yeah. And I know years and years ago when I was approaching 50,
So long.
working with Lee, it was a long time ago, but Lee Steinberg, uh, it was a really difficult job because Lee, had a disease that's called alcoholism, and I'm dealing with a lot of egos working for the most notable sports agency in the world as CEO, and it made it more difficult because people romanticize being on stage if you're James Maslow touring the world or working for the UFC or being the CEO of the most notable sports agency, but it's still activity you get paid for, which means there's a reason they pay you because there's a portion of it that sucks. Um, so in this aspect of the UFC being so positive, having direct connection and access to some of the greatest fighters and Dana White, all the glamour and romanticized view of what you do you ever feel stuck in that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think, kind of you hit on it earlier that for me, it's my identity. I do, for whatever reason, my involvement with the UFC, a lot of my personal like respect for myself or whatever, or when I introduce myself, it is something I'm kind of proud of, where I feel like I've done a good job, or so definitely there's part of that. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. And my for me, it's 51%. 51% of the time I'm driving to work, do I actually want to go to work? If it's 51%, I'm doing
I
all
like
right.
that.
If,
I also think it's
I tell people all the time,
I've never gotten to work, stopped in the parking lot, and left. So I'm doing okay.
I literally, one of the things I love about what I do, and I use this as a standard, is do you love going to work and do you love coming home? And if you can love both, it's really, you talked about this illusion of balance, James. I think that's one of the criteria for me. Am I prioritizing the right things in my life when I'm super excited to go to something, but even more or equally excited to come home?
yeah.
That's a pretty good indicator that you have some sort of semblance of a weighted balance in circumstances that exist. James, why don't you go ahead and close it out with a glorious question that will bring out the best in Forrest?
Glorious question. Well, look, not even
No
tooting any
pressure.
horns as I say this. We all are aware of the tremendous success you've had in the UFC, and you spoke about being so content in life right now. But what do you say really motivates you? What is it? Is it part of the business you're running right now? Is it most of your family? What motivates you mostly these days?
It's a good question. It's kind of, as we approach the new year, I think a lot of us are kind of recalibrating and saying, hey, where do I allocate my time? But But yeah, I have a bit of a servant mindset, and I kind of a servant leader thing. I took a course online once, like what kind of person are you? And I like the fact that I'm too far in to the sport of mixed martial arts to get out. So for me, how do I advance the sport? How do I advance the athlete population? How do I improve the outcomes for these athletes? And then again, David mentioned it earlier. These are things that I can feel like are important goals for me. So my life philosophy, in short, is kind of the Boy Scout motto. If you're
I was a
familiar,
Boy Scout.
either you guys ever Boy Scouts? You were? I didn't make it. I got kicked out of Weeblos. Long story,
Three Boy
but I
Scouts.
wanted to be a Boy Scout. So my understanding was their motto, like when you go to a campsite, is to leave it a little better
Yep.
than you found it. And
Yep.
I can say that with the sport of MMA, that I've left it a little better than I found it. And at some point, I want to leave the UFC and I want to say, hey, I've left it a lot better than I found
Man,
it.
I love that. That's awesome.
Well, you've left this show a lot better than you found it, and you've left our lives.
Well, that was easy to do.
Leave me with a jab. That hurt me too, though, Forrest. Just want you to know that.
No, I think that's funny as shit. Anyways, you are incredible. Anytime we can get some time with Forrest Griffin and get the wisdom that he has, it provides more faith in humanity to me, because he's just a good person. And my favorite line is, be kind to your future self, do good deeds. And when I think of that, I think of a man I know that's doing good deeds, because he is a servant leader. Forrest Griffin, thanks for joining James Maslow and I, man. You're incredible.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
And
guys.
happy
Very
holidays,
kind. Much
guys.
appreciated. Thank you. You too, boss.
Awesome. All right, James, we need a takeaway of the day as we let Forrest go. What do you got for me?
Oh, man, what a mensch. Well spoken,
Yeah.
humble, funny. I mean, I was a fan. I'm a bigger fan now. One thing he said that I think is important. I don't know if many people my generation or younger really think about this, but it's important to him how he's going to be remembered, how he's going to present himself. And we live in a culture where a lot of times shock value is what gets the next, pop artist known. And sometimes it's even doing bad things that somehow, whether it's being jokes on TikTok, not that that's bad, or dare I say, even, some people have been made famous by going to rehab. And it's not that you can't capitalize on things that happen in your life, but I've noticed the trend of people going out of their way to do bad things for the hope of exposure. And I'm just not a fan of that. So I'm a huge fan of his and a huge fan of that message of, like, try and be the best version of who you are. This will be remembered, everything we record these days. And I hope to look back at myself in 15, 20 years and beyond, like Forrest is, and say, man, I'm proud of who I was and who I've become.
I love that. And I also just love someone that enjoys life so much that they don't take it so seriously. They understand what really matters, even though they're in what seems to be a highly competitive position with a lot of different responsibilities, being married, having kids, running as an executive, one of the biggest sports organizations in the world, a multi-billion dollar, and growing. And I think the understatement and takeaway of the day is everybody should try to leave. And my mom used to tell me this, everyone, just everywhere you go, leave it a little better, which came to that, be kind to your future self by leaving everything you can better. Forrest Griffin, the takeaway, and he represents that perfectly. Everywhere he goes, he elevates everyone around him, and he leaves it a little better every time he's in the studio, every time he comes to a dinner, every time he is speaking. I've seen him at events. He's enormously valuable because he makes everything better. He's like the BASF of of content. He makes everyone better. He made you and I better.
Awesome.
James Maslow, you are amazing. We're getting the hang of this.
We are.
Our studios are coming together.
He said he listens to podcasts, and I started a podcast so that I can learn from people like you and him. And I mean that sincerely. There's not even a joke involved in that. This is really something special.
It is, and it's only going to get better because Forrest Griffin's been here to make it better, and we are blessed to be here. Everybody, check out all the episodes of Celebrity Entrepreneur Show with James Maslow. I'm blessed to be a mentor and a mentee of my dear friend. Follow him. He is an amazing an amazing soul and wise beyond his years. My old soul buddy, James Maslow, here with me, Dave Meltzer, on Celebrity Entrepreneur Show. Thank you, brother. I'll see you
Thank you,
soon.
my